Disclaimer, don't try this at home. This is just purely for show. All right, guys, so today's video, we're going to raise the engine of the XB. Mind you, nobody else has done this. I couldn't find one single video on the internet how to do this. And we're just doing this the broke boy way, washers and longer bolts. There's only one mount where we actually need to kind of finesse it a little bit, but I'm going to show you guys that. It's the Transmount. Other than that, this is my second attempt. You guys didn't see the first one because I ended up stripping 5 out of like 8 or 9 of the bolts. It's not a good thing to do, so we had to reset all of that and get that shit fixed before we spun back. But now we're ready. And by ready, I mean I'm like 85% sure this is going to work, not 100%. So we'll see how that goes. I am sweating because it's Florida. It's 94 degrees out right now, and I'm in the beaming sun. This is going to be fun. Let's get this done. I am also mic'd up, so hopefully it's a little better audio. You guys have been killing it on the videos. I appreciate everyone that has subscribed and liked. I'm just doing this because I enjoy the XBs, and I'm trying to put them on the map. So let's get this shit done. Let's go. The XB is already in the air. Now, just to show you guys how this is going to go. XBs have 4 mounts. One right here, the engine one right there. There's one on the back side of the motor, like right here, and the Transmount. These two should be the simplest because there is no finagling or trying to make that shit work. Basically, this one is held up by 2 bolts right here. I got longer bolts, and I'm going to put washers in between to raise it up. This one, the exact same thing. The only thing with this one is AC lines are connected to it and the coolant housing. So we're going to need to loosen the coolant housing so we can at least move it. There's a bolt back here, and then we're going to need to take out these 4 bolts, raise it up, and put washers in between with longer bolts. This is the only complicated one, which this one we're going to go more in depth once we get to it, but I want to do the other 3 first since those are supposed to be the easiest ones. I also have the car raised on jack stands, and there's a jack holding up the engine and trans. If you try to take out a motor mount with the engine and trans not being propped up, all the weight of the engine is on those mounts. It's going to become a lot harder. So just do this for peace of mind and make it easier on yourself. If this shit goes well, we are the first XB with a motor raise. So let's go. To give you guys a breakdown on why I am raising the engine. Basically, the car, when you lower the car, the wheel goes up, right? Because there's less wheel gap. When the wheel goes up, the axle moves upwards. Now, I've been looking on all the Facebook groups and everything, and everybody says that the XBs always have axle problems, but nobody tells you how to resolve it. So this is me trying to combat that. My axle angle is like this right now, which is not good for durability or the axle itself. Basically, I've gone through 3 sets of axles already within the past like 2-3 months since I last lowered the XB. Now that's not good. Obviously, axles are supposed to last you a very, very long time. Now, obviously, with camber and lowering it, they last a little bit less, but they're not supposed to be months. So what we do, if your axle is like this, either you raise the car and bring the axle back down, or you raise the engine to even it out. Now, I'm not sure how much I'm supposed to raise the engine or what will it be to get it accurately or in spec. I'm going to attempt to raise it an inch. Every mount I'm going to raise an inch. We might need to cut a little bit on the wheel wells because the axle might hit the frame, but we'll show you guys that when we get to it. All right, now we are going to do the front motor mount first. It's this one. It is being held up by, mine are 2 18s. Not sure if yours will be a 17 because I tried to swap out the mount from another one and it was a smaller bolt. So mine are 18s. You're going to take these 2 out. And then there is one bolt right here, which is a 19. All right, so just to show you how this is going to go, this is the motor mount. This is the factory bolt. And this is the new hardware. As you can see, it's longer. Therefore, it gives us room to add washers to raise the car. Now, you're not going to put the washers right here. You're going to put the washers in between the mount and the frame. Now, the two bolts are here. You're not going to put the washers through here. You're going to put them on this side in between the hole where the mount bolts up, right? So you're basically going to put the washers on here and then screw it. Therefore, raising this upwards. Let's get it done. Tell me how I just took out the wheel. This is part of a reflector. GG's, brother. Now, I'm going to do the rear mount. Basically, it's going to be the exact same thing. Can't really record it because there's not much space under there. But you guys get the concept. You're going to put the washers in between the mount and the frame so it lifts up the mount and therefore raising your engine. All right, now the rear mount is done. Now we're doing the motor mount on the passenger side. As you can see, I took out everything. This is the bracket that goes all the way at the bottom. So we're going to put washers in between this and this bottom hole to basically lift this higher. Everything else should mount up like normal. If you have a tape measure, you should probably measure, but I don't have a tape measure, so I measured with my phone. Roughly 8 washers is almost an inch, like 9/10 of an inch. So put 8 washers on each side, so that's 8 here and 8 here. Then we're gonna start building it back up. Now I recommend doing this on flat ground because I'm doing this on an elevated surface so the motor doesn't sit flush at all times. I had to go up and down, up and down, up and down to make sure the holes where the bolts were lined up perfectly so that there's no extra tension between the bolts, you know, causing premature failure or any of that kind of stuff. We have one mount left, and that is the Transmount. That's the one that I'm going to show you guys what you have to do to raise it. All right, now for this mount, I'm going to show you guys what you need to do. So first thing, you're going to need to loosen this up. So it's going to be 1, 2, 3, and 4. That's to take that side off. And then you need this bolt right here to fully be able to bring it up, right? You're going to take this off, and then that mount under, the one that the mount itself connects to, you're also going to take it off. There should be 3 bolts. It's going to be 2 here and 1 inside right under the mount itself. Look at this motor mount. Bro, thank goodness I have an extra one from the other XBs. But basically, you take off the 4 bolts on the side. Those are for 17 millimeters. And then you have these bolts right here, those 2, and then there's one right here under this right there. Those are 3 14 millimeters. You take those off, and then this comes out, and then we can get to cutting. All right, so basically I'm going to show you how we're going to raise this mount. Right, so this is the whole setup. This bolts up to the frame, and this bolts up to your transmission, and then it's connected via that bolt right there, right? So if you think about it, the bolt itself, or the mount, is like this the entire time. You see how much space is right there from this to here? So what we're going to do is actually get this mount to sit lower. So first we need to grind away these little tabs. Those little tabs are going to allow the mount itself to go lower, right? So be like this, right? Then this little thing, I'm going to take it out, which should be just a 12 millimeter bolt. Take it out. I'm going to grind this out because that doesn't connect to anything, so it's not really necessary, right? And then basically we're going to make a hole lower. How much lower? An inch, because we're trying to raise the motor an inch. We're going to make the bolt an inch lower. Then it should just bolt up normally. And then this should stay normal, so the mount itself is just going to go higher, aka the transmission is going to go higher. Now, let me show you guys how to do this. Now, disclaimer, don't try this at home. This is just purely for show. Now, I don't have anything that's going to hold this down, so I'm going to put my foot right here, my slides, put my foot here, and then we'll just go like this, tapping at it until it grinds it down. I would put the phone in front of the actual mount like this, but then I'm not going to be able to see shit, so we'll put it like this, grind it down. We'll do the same thing on the other side. And then this, we're just going to cut the whole bolt. All right, now I just grabbed my biggest drill bit. This is just a Ryobi drill. Doesn't really have much power, but it's going to get me at least a started hole, and then we're going to use this to make the hole as wide as the bolt is. All right, so we did the hole. As you can see, it's lower, and boom, essentially the engine is, or the transmission is going to sit that this much higher, which is going to be good for me. Other than that, you want to make sure to use washers on the outer parts, if not the inner part as well. All right, so one more thing. Once you have it, as you could see, it does not sit fully flush yet. Basically, we're going to need to shave this down because we raised it too much to the point where this is what's hitting. So basically, I had to end up cutting this whole part. And that's basically because if you don't cut that, it's not going to sit flush. Eventually, I am going to just plate that. So cut it a little bit better and then just plate it right there. So the integrity is back. And I'm going to get stiffer mounts. So I'm just going to put some silicone in all of this to make it stiffer. Okay, so we ended up having to cut a lot more than we anticipated. The hole, we needed to make it pretty big, like that. Obviously, it's all shaved down. And then on this one, which is the one that mounts to the frame itself, we needed to cut quite a bit. So this right here was hitting the actual frame because obviously the other mount is sitting higher, so it was hitting here. We had to cut this because this was hitting the actual transmission case right here. Yeah, so eventually we'll plate this and get it looking real pretty, but this is what we had to do to get it to actually work. What I'm going to do really quick is spray it with some high temp caliber paint. Yes, it's red. I don't really care. It's just to cover up that, so it looks a little bit prettier than the shitty cutting job I did. All right, guys, so I kind of forgot to end the video, and I didn't want to end it off without me trying the motor raise and running it for a little bit and seeing how it is. So I've had it for about 220 to almost 250 miles. I have no issues. After I did the motor raise, I swapped out my axles just to make sure that the least amount could go wrong. Motor raise is still good. Transmount is still holding strong. No play. All the other ones are really good. Key notes that I want to give to you guys if you do decide to do this. 1, jack up the entire car. Don't be like me and jack up just the front. When you jack up just the front, the engine tends to move back because of obviously gravity. So jack it up on 4s and then jack up the engine from below to help you release the motor mounts. 2, if you have somebody that could help you, that would be great. Not everybody could do it with somebody else. Proper tools. Realistically, I just use an angle grinder, a drill. If you have a Dremel, that would be better. It would have came out clutch if I would have had a Dremel, but I didn't. You know, washers, a lot of washers. Honestly, if you think you should use a washer on the end of a bolt, throw the washer on there. Rather safe than sorry. I'm going to give you guys a quick look at how it looks from the actual engine. Obviously, I can't get under the car and show you guys that, but I could at least show you from up top. Let's look. All right, so main mount right there. Washer's still holding on, and washers are good there. This bottom one right here, you're not going to be able to see, but the washers are back there. Transmount, the one that we had to cut a lot and move it around to figure it out. As you can see, that's where the actual hole is supposed to be, and where mine is, it's an inch lower. And then the one in the back, the torque mount, that one, same thing, raised it up. Last thing to mention, when I first did the motor raise, I didn't put as many washers on the rear mount, the torque one, the one that's inside the actual like transmission tunnel, that one, I didn't put as many washers as I did on the other ones because I didn't think it was necessary. So when I did that, every time I would go into reverse, the car would shake like hell, like it was twerking. I can only recommend that you put as many washers as you do on the rest. Make sure that the geometry of the transmission is as normal. And if you have to end up zip tying, not cutting out or loosening some other bolts, I would do that just to be safe. There is one little 10 millimeter, and I believe it's a cable that goes right through the tunnel. I don't remember what cable it is, but there's a little 10 millimeter that I did have to zip tie because after putting the washers on, it wouldn't line up, which is perfectly fine because we're raising the engine. That's not where it's supposed to be. All right, so this is the car right now. Yes, sir. It looks pretty fire. All right, y'all boys be safe. Any questions, hit me up. Let's go.